Hi, this is Jim Ave, your professor for ATR 792B, Practicum in Athletic Training 2. I want to welcome you to our class. Hope you had some time off during that Christmas break to kind of recharge your batteries and get going with classes again. We are in the second part of our Practicum course. It's very much the same as what you did in a fall semester. What I'm going to do in this presentation, just hit some highlights, some differences between the 792A class and the 792B class. Some of the differences that you'll see when you look at the syllabus and in Moodle is that instead of having our modules as weekly blocks, I've kind of chunked them into, most of them are 2-week blocks. So you'll see, like I have here in our first module, weeks 1 and 2. And you'll want to read this information in the Module 1 overview, where I provide information what we're going to do in the first 2 weeks. And what assignments are due at the end of the module. Typically, all the assignments are due at the end of the module, which is typically the end of the second week. And I try to highlight this in the text. The due dates will also be in the assignments. So for the first week, what are you going to be doing? Or the first 2 weeks, you should be working on your professional portfolio, just like you did in the first class. And here are the BOC Professional Responsibilities 4 and Practice Standard 4. So the responsibilities is research. And since you are in a research methods class, you're just beginning it. Unfortunately, if you had research methods class before 792B, what you would turn in is your completed research paper in KIN 771, Research Methods in Kinesiology. You can turn in an artifact from that class still. Talk about you're learning the process of research. So that would be a good artifact for your class for this portfolio, or if you've done any other research. For clinical evaluation and diagnosis, that's pretty straightforward. You can put injury report for an artifact. So the first 2 weeks, you're going to work on your writing your executive summary, and then find an artifact and write the artifact section. So no changes really in the portfolio assignment. It's the same as you did in the fall. You will have a progress report due at the end of week 2. Same kind of thing that we did in the progress report in the fall class. And then you also have your Good to Great in God's Eyes Reflection. That's our devotional book that we are doing for this class. So like we did Courage and Calling, same format that we did in the fall class. You will have a forum where you'll post your reflection, and also turn in your 2 questions, 1 to 2 open-ended questions, and have a threaded discussion for your forum like we did in the fall. And I have an extra credit form here. I have a due date, so that's due this Sunday. That's the only thing that's due your first week of the course, is doing your extra credit form. All right. So you'll see in the other modules, they're closed right now. They won't open until the 23rd. You have weeks 3 and 4, then weeks 5, 6, blah, 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 all the way through the end. So one other thing that I want to talk about in this presentation is the professional portfolio template. I made a change in the assignment, just the language. In the fall class, you did professional portfolio 1, 2, and 3. I'm changing the language to Professional Portfolio Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. That's what you did in the fall. This semester, you're going to do Part 4, 5, and 6. And so I changed the language here in the title page. And the other thing I did in the template is I changed the table of contents here. So we have Part 1. So you'll need to go back and change your table of contents from the fall class, because we're going to continually build on your professional portfolio. So you will include your material from the fall class into this template and turn it in 4 weeks with your fourth portfolio, or your part 4 of your portfolio. You don't have to rewrite anything. You just have to change some of these titles, and I'll show some other places where you have to make some changes. Change your page numbers. Now for each part, you'll see I have 6 dash, and whatever. If this goes to page 12, put page 12. Then I've broken down each of the sections into more detail, and so you'll put your page numbers for what page the executive summary is on. They're probably on the same page, but maybe not. Your artifact sections, I broke it down into 2 sections, and then your reflections, I've broken down that by code and standards, and then your courage and calling reflection. So I've done that for the first 3 parts, which you did last fall. So you're going to have to change your title page. And then for what you're going to turn in for the first portfolio, which is part 4, and I already have the section titles. You have for professional responsibility code 4, standard 4, for the summary, the artifact, and reflections. And then you'll remove all this information here until you do it for part 5 and part 6. And then if we go back down to, I've changed some of the section headings too, so you're going to need to change that for your professional portfolio. For your I probably do that in this first week, so it gives you something to do in addition to writing your executive summaries for code 4 and standard 4. Again, all you have to do is change some of the formatting for your first 3 portfolios, the first 3 parts for this. Another thing I changed is I'm going to go all the way down to actually the part 4. So this is what you're going to be working on, writing new material that you'll turn in 4 weeks, is executive summary for professional responsibility 4. You write it, put your information. Same with your summary for standard 4. Same thing there. Artifact, the only thing I did differently in artifact is I separated them in 2 sections. So you'll first write about the code 4, then standard 4, about the artifact, so that hasn't changed. One thing I did change is here in the reflections. I try to break it down by sections that I want you to write about. I want you to talk about your professional growth in code 4. How have you developed and grown and matured in research since you were a student? Again, if we're talking about research doesn't have to be just you conducting research, but how have you learned using evidence-based practice, because that's research. How do you know the care that you're providing your patients? How have you gotten better on trying to find out what's the best care for your patients since you're a student? So that's part of research. Remember that part of research. And so how have you grown in code 4 since you're a student? Should be 1 to 2 paragraphs. In your growth, how can you continue to grow and develop in code 4? What are some very specific developmental plans, conferences, what you can read, how you can grow? One thing, how you can grow is by completing the research methods course in this graduate program, because you'll be halfway done with it by the time you turn this portfolio in. Then the strengths. Now we have a separate section on strengths. By now you have taken the Clifton Strengths Finder because you took it in class in the fall. So I have an information here that what I don't want you to do is just report your talent themes, because that's not your strength, that's a talent. Strengths are comprised of your God-given talents, which are assessed by the Clifton Strengths Finder, your experience, your skills, and your knowledge. So when discussing how you can continue to develop in your areas of strengths in Code 4, and then and the next one's strengths and standards 4, what experience, skills, or knowledge you need to improve in those areas of strengths or area of strength. So you can have more than area. So tell me what your area of strength or strengths are in Code 4, and then how can you develop in those areas of strengths or continue to develop in those areas of strengths. What experience, skills, or knowledge do you need to do that? So this is 1 or 2 paragraphs. And then you do the same thing for Standard 4, how have you grown, how can you continue to grow, and what's your area of strength, and how can you continue to develop in your area of strength. And then you place your good to great in God's eyes reflections. Look at the syllabi to know what chapters you're going to be working on, because this is your second good to great in God's eyes reflection, and so that's what you'll have in your part 4 of your portfolio. And then your references and your appendices. So we're doing the same thing that we did in the fall semester, is just I changed some of the language. Instead of portfolio 1, 2, and 3, we're doing portfolios part 1, 2, and 3, part 4, 5, and 6 in this class. And you'll have to do some reformatting on your portfolio. And as a reminder, you'll turn in your material from the fall semester into your portfolio, your part 4, that's due in 4 weeks for our class. As always, if you have questions, please post them in the Q&A forum, because I'm here to help.